Welcome everybody to Fruit Up with Bobby Smith. YouTube, it's going down. It's going down. You know how we get down. We got a special guest in the building today. Alan, how you say your last name, Alan?
Manglona.
Manglonia. See, I didn't know how to say it. So I'm glad you clarified that for us, man. I appreciate you for having you on, brother, man. You were inspiration for me, man. I see your posts. I watched a couple of your interviews, well, the one specific interview you had with Ali. And I sat back, like I told you before we even got on here, I said, this guy right here is intelligent. This guy out here know what he's doing. And this guy out here is inspiring people. So I just wanted to talk to you and let the people know what's going on with you. Because we both in kind of the same lane. And we're going to talk about the levels to this shit too. So if you want to, man, go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background and shit, and we can go from there.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, Bobby. Hi, everyone. My name is Alan. I've struggled with obesity since childhood, and I have always been open to trying different types of diet. I experimented with different types of diet, and I finally landed on the Fruitarian diet, and I felt best on it. When I started the Fruitarian diet, I was around 180 pounds. In around 4 months, I was down to like 119. I've not weighed 119 pounds since like elementary school, So as an adult, I was and then around, I want to say day 40, my poop stopped having that poop smell. And, it was kind of difficult to tell people because, the cliche, hey, you act like your shit don't stink. No, it doesn't stink.
I tell people that all the time. I tell people that all the time. Yeah, my bad. Go ahead, man.
And then I was experimenting, and I was growing cannabis back in the Marianas, and I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna use my poop for fertilizer for my cannabis. And I think one of the days I was eating lots of tomatoes, and I pooped in a bucket to use as fertilizer, and then I mixed that poop with dirt, right? And then later on, tomatoes started growing out of my poop. So I'm like, oh, the tomato seeds survived my my digestive system and came out and grew beautifully without fertilizer burn. Because if you put like goat poop or like rabbit poop into your garden, sometimes you get fertilizer burn because it's so strong. However, my poop was like the perfect fertilizer for that tomato plant. And supposedly, when seeds go through you, it knows your DNA. It remembers your DNA and thinks, okay, this being helped my mother disperse its seeds, and now I'm gonna help it so it can help me disperse its seeds. So it's that connection. It's called mutualism, where we help each other with nature. And I believe modern humans kind of depend on technology a lot more. And in Japan, there's convenience stores everywhere, there's vending machines everywhere. We start to separate ourselves from nature, right? And if God made us not within nature, we're separating ourselves from God, is pretty much how I'm looking at it. Well, anyway, day 90 is when my mucoid plaque came out.
Hold on. Day 90 of straight fruits?
Yes, I was on a straight fruit diet until like day 120 or something like that. So I was just straight eating fruits. And then around day 120, I started eating like raw vegetables. But so day 90, around that time, I was monomilling grapefruits and melons and papayas. Where I was living, there's wild papayas everywhere, and it was easy to monomill papayas. And then my mucoid plaque came out. And like I said earlier, I was keeping my poop for fertilizer. When that mucoid plaque came out, it felt like something that was leaning against my guts finally like moved out, and I felt so relieved. But when I looked at my poop, it was darker, blacker than usual. But then I dried it under the sun, I dried it under the sun and realized that my usual poop turns into dirt, like light brown dirt, but that mucoid plaque stayed dark and hard too. I pick it up, it's like a rock. And maybe I'll send that video to you, or I have it in a cup and I'm shaking my mucoid plaque around. It sounds like rocks.
That's
so imagine
crazy.
that was stuck in me. And my theory is starch was used as adhesives back in the day. Supposedly the Great Wall of China, the bricks, the mortar in between the bricks, sticky rice mortar was used. So rice was mixed with some lime or some calcium, and then it becomes like mortar, like cement. So imagine that. Imagine us. I'm eating rice, and I'm half American, so I'm eating rice. I'm eating steak and eating pork. A lot of pork, man. I love spam. When I was a kid, since I was a kid, I was eating all this crazy shit with rice and bread and pastas. And if it works like an adhesive, then it might get stuck more in there. And then meats, right? They putrefy and they rot, and then I guess that makes you more prone to getting sick. And the rice and stuff, they work as adhesive, right? And so it gets stuck more and become that mucoid plaque. So this is my theory, yes. So and I do know that, yeah, starch is used for adhesives, because back in the day when I was like 14, in my island, they sold zigzags, which was kind of expensive, and then they sold a cheaper brand of wrapping paper, which was a lot cheaper. However, there was no adhesive on the paper. So what we did was we used the cooked rice and used it as adhesive, and it stuck good.
Yeah, and it gets sticky. Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's imagine crazy. That getting stuck in us. And supposedly the average American in his late 30s will have like at least 10 pounds of that come out. So yeah, when my mucoid plaque came out around day 90, that's when like my abs start showing for the first time in my life. And like, whoa. But yeah, it felt so relieved. It felt like something that was leaning on you, like you're in the train and somebody's leaning on you, and finally it gets off and you're like, oh, relief. It was like that relief, but inside my gut, maybe hundreds or thousands of dollars for that colon hydrotherapy. But I don't think it's ultimately natural. Like you don't really go out in nature and find a way to wash yourself from the bottom, from unless you're like, a handstand underneath a river or a waterfall. Right. You know what I mean? Right. But I don't think it works that way. But I find that fruits or fruit juicing can be the most natural way to
get rid of
to get it out of it.
So, but they say once you get rid of it, you start absorbing better.
Yeah.
Like you start getting more nutrients from your fruit. How did you tell that you was getting more nutrients and stuff from your food after you released that mucoid plaque?
You're satisfied with less fruits, less amount of fruits, and even less variety. Right now, only like whatever is in season in Japan right now is citrus. So I eat citrus for breakfast, just mono meal. And then for dinner, when the tempter comes, I eat avocados and tomato mixed together, like guacamole.
Man, I just posted something today about avocados and tomatoes mixed together. It said like the avocado do something with the with a ingredient inside the tomato.
Right.
You know anything about that?
I think supposedly there's amino acids in the tomato called lyso, whatever. Amino acids is what the body uses. Body converts protein into amino acids and uses it for muscle. But supposedly the combination or the chemicals in the avocado or vice versa helps absorb the amino acid in the body. That's what I've heard. But it's delicious. Like right. If it's true or not, I'm still and then my ancestors, my Japanese ancestors, they didn't have salt mines or mountains where they can pick Himalayan pink salt. They mined, supposedly, according to history, they use sea salt. They harvested sea salt. So I add sea salt to my guacamole. And this is when I have cooked food cravings. A lot of times when I'm emotional, right, or get nostalgic of back in the day, like, oh yeah, I remember like I was in the military and my dorm used to be right next to Popeye's Chicken, and I'll cook rice and I'll go down to Popeye's Chicken and order like this the spicy strips, and I'll take it up and eat it with my, you know, like I'll have, when I have nostalgia, especially like music, you hear music of the days you were eating whatever food you were eating, and then you
Right.
remember the days, and you get kind of emotional and you have these cravings. When temptation does hit me, a lot of times I kind of neutralize it with the avocados and tomatoes. Avocados, I don't think I don't think it naturally grows out here in Japan, but so they're the only imported fruits I eat. I try to eat as much local in your area where you step your foot. According to the Ringing Cedar book series by Anastasia,
Hold
we
on. What is it? What is it?
the Ringing Cedar, ringing, and then cedar as in the cedar tree, I think is how you spell it.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down.
So when we garden barefoot, supposedly a lot of stuff that we need to detox come out of our feet, right? That's why when we're teenagers, right, our feet start to stink because we're eating McNuggets and shakes and what,
Right.
you know, all these
All that
foods,
bullshit.
right? Yeah, all that. Yeah, and we start drinking alcohol around our teenage years, right?
Right.
but we were still very strong. That's why we were able to push out a lot of that toxin out of our feet, and our feet start to stink, our sweat start to stink. But I think that's a good sign, saying that, hey, your body's detoxing. Once your body stops detoxing, that's when you should worry, like, hey, I'm eating all this garbage, but my body's not. I think that's when you're more prone to getting sick or cancer or whatever these diseases are.
So what that mean?
Shoot,
Like your body working on something else? So like your body trying to work on the cancer, so it can't work on detoxing.
right? It's so beat up that it's working on something. It's very hard to focus on the other, and that's why fasting, I believe, is very important as well. You give your gut a break so that it can focus on fixing other stuff. Supposedly, we use a lot of energy to use the digestive system, and that's why, like back in the day, right, we go out, we have a heavy breakfast with pancakes and bacon, and then for lunch we go out and we get a bacon cheeseburger with some fries, all this mixed foods, and we go back to work, we're sleepy as fuck because we use a lot of energy to burn this bread. We got to use this enzyme to burn this bread. We got to use this enzyme to break down this meat and all this shit, and now our body uses so much energy. And that's why another good thing is monomealing. Our body already uses can just focus on just breaking down one type of fruit or one species of fruit.
Right. Hell yeah. So you noticed after getting that absorption that you was eating less, basically, is what you said.
Yes.
Okay, so you said you was eating where you live at, like you eat local. So do you eat all organic, all seeded fruits?
I try to, right? I try to eat as much organic as possible. If my choice, my top tier list will be the organic fruits you grow, and then the organic fruits you can buy, and then the conventional fruits grown and sold in supermarkets, and then the seedless fruits.
Okay, so let me tell you this. So I eat mostly conventional fruit.
Right.
I eat a lot of seedless fruit. Mostly my oranges, my citrus is seedless. What do you think about conventional seedless fruits? Are they good? Are they bad? What's up with them?
I think they're better than vegetables and cooked foods, and they're better than all of other foods sold in the supermarkets.
Okay.
Right. However, conventional now they're using chemicals and pesticides to grow it, right, in big scale industry so they could fill up supermarkets. Yeah, they kill a lot of the organisms in the dirt, right, and supposedly the B12 in the dirt is getting depleted because the B12 is made out of bacteria.
Right.
Me, I don't really worry about B12 or supplementing because this is more like I just have faith. Going back to Genesis chapter 1, verse 29, and when God created man, he also assigned when he assigned the food for man, the food was fruit, and he was like, "Yo, man, this is fruits. Inside the fruits, there's seeds. You plant the seeds, trees will grow, and you have more fruits. This is your food." And so, yeah,
And that
and
makes sense, but what if it ain't no seeds in the damn food?
right. Well, see,
Or
we're
not the
born
damn
into
food,
sin.
but the food.
We're born into sin, and I think putting the effort into still trying to eat as natural as possible, I think the effort ultimately will beat sin. God's mercy will take care of the rest, the other sins that you couldn't. At least you put
Man,
effort. I think that's what matters.
I tell people all the time, it's your intention
Right.
behind what you're eating. Because a
Right.
lot of times you may not be able to help what you eat. You may not be in a
Right.
situation to grow your own food, and you got to trust the best food available. And if you put
Right.
in the intent behind the best food available in your body, then what you gonna who gonna blame you for that? You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said
It's
that.
if God is like our parents, parents see us trying, right? And then after our physical death, we go up to meet him and say, "Hey, man, I know you tried, man. Good on you,
Right,
man. Come on in."
right, right.
but uh, but one thing I wanted to say about the seed part, like when
Go
I
ahead.
eat avocados, I eat a lot of avocados. I could eat like over 10 avocados a day for comfort. I'm eating it for comfort.
Right.
I'm serving myself. In Mark chapter 10, verse 45, it speaks to something like, hey, we're not here just to serve ourselves, we're here to serve others as well. So when I eat avocado, at least there's seed. And when I plant the seed, right, plants give us oxygen, they take our carbon dioxide away, they give us shade, all this, they clean the air, and then the avocados can grow out, and our future children can pick that avocado if they want. So it's not just serving myself. I know I'm eating it for pleasure, but I also serve by planting the seed. And so that's why I try to eat seeded fruit, because I know I don't need to eat it right now. But
right.
I'm in front, I'm sitting down watching YouTube. I grew up, eating potato chips and drinking Coke while watching TV. That trigger, I replace the cooked foods with fruits, even though I don't need it at that time. If it's wants, it's just service to myself. But if we plant the seeds, we're not just serving ourselves, we're serving the world or the environment.
That's a nice way to look at it. I mean, and it make you feel better about what you eat. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like for real.
Yeah.
But so, okay,
See how you're eating fruits, being a fruitarian, we kind of, if you believe in the plastics are destroying the earth, polluting air, the more we eat, the more we become more of the fruitarian, eating fresh produce. We don't buy stuff really in packages, so we have less trash. Meaning there's less pollution. So you eating just fruits is actually, in a way, serving the environment anyway.
So that's a good point. So, because I be feeling bad sometimes because I throw away a lot of skins and a lot of
Right.
a lot of fruit.
Let's say, okay, bananas don't have seeds, but you peel the banana and you just throw the banana on the ground, it goes back into the earth pretty quickly. And bananas have potassium, give new potassium to the dirt. Supposedly fruits or plants use potassium, nitrogen, and phosphorus for fertilizer. But anyway, it goes back into the dirt. If we open a bag of candy, some Skittles, and we throw the bag, the plastic, does it really become dirt? How long does it take before it becomes dirt again? You know what I mean? So
not really renewable.
So just eating fruits itself is somewhat, helping the environment, if you want to look at it that way.
So first, how hard is it to eat only fruits?
Well, it may depend on person.
For you?
For me, when I went fruitarian, it was fairly easy because one, I was living on a tropical island, and two, I started in 2020, the fruitarian diet in 2020, but in 2018, I was experimenting with a lot of fasting. So I was able to go like, I was able to do a week of fasting. I was able to do like 141 hours of dry fasting, which means no food, no water. And I was okay. So when I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the fruitarian diet, it was fairly easy because I get to eat as much fruits as I want. All right.
Right.
I was just stuffing my face with fruits.
A person, man, who do shit like you do. Like I think I heard you say in Eileen's interview. Shouts out to Eileen too. That you did like 190 day, 890 days of fruit,
Oh
of
yes,
straight fruit.
fruitarian.
So
Oh no, fruitarian diet. Fruitarian diet meaning like, hey, at least 99% was fruits. Because when I came to Japan, I was, like I said, like around day 120, I started adding raw leaves and raw vegetables. And when I came to Japan, I was trying out raw seaweeds, raw mushrooms, everything else besides uh, that are not, but botanically labeled as fruits. I was eating, but raw. I went 890-day raw fruitarian diet, meaning over 80%.
Right, which is fruitarianism.
But yeah, that's in by mainstream definition. Yes, that's
because that I was going before I go ahead. That's kind of like my thing right now. So I'm in a position where I've been fruitarian, I would say since September of 2022. So I'm getting to the point now where I'm like, fuck, I need to, extend my diet or, experiment with other things because I'm getting bored with just the fruits. And I know it's the healthy lifestyle, it's the optimal diet or optimal way to live, but I miss certain foods. You know what I'm saying? I'll be wanting to indulge in shit too. But I think what I'm learning now is that I know how to I don't people always say if you go back to eating the salt, then that's gonna be your downfall. What you think about that? Can you handle the salt intake if you was to go back eating regular food?
At first, when I went back to eating cooked foods back in August of last year, yeah, my body couldn't my body couldn't handle it. I felt right away like my kidneys felt like they were working harder, and then my lymph nodes in my groin area got really swollen. And when I walk, my inner thigh will rub against each other, and it was really difficult to walk. I think, yeah, when we eat cooked foods and our inner thigh rub against each other, that's actually because of the inflammation and that right there, lymph node damage. And I noticed the water retention. So my legs were looking like Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters, and I couldn't fit my usual footwear, and it was very difficult to walk. So right away, I felt my body react in a negative manner.
Now, is that right after eating cooked food one time or?
Oh no. I think that the first day I ate cooked food, yeah, it felt a little bit different. But as I'm eating cooked foods, it's just it's like a snowball. It just like one day I look at my feet and it looked super swollen, and I was like, what the hell is this? I had to and the crazy thing is, yeah, my dreams started becoming more adulterated. My sexual desires kind of went uphill. My sleep hours got a lot longer. I got more lazy. I felt a little bit more lazier and less motivated. And I felt, yeah, my kidneys were hurting. My sides, I don't know if it's my kidneys, but at least my sides were really hurting. It felt really heavy. I noticed it's a lot more difficult to digest or cook foods. And I ultimately believe like our body is a sensor. We are sensors, right? That's why we have at least we know we have 5 basic senses. I believe we have a lot more than that, but yeah. So when we clean our body with fasting or with a really clean diet, our sensors become more sensitive. and we feel these things right away, as opposed to if we've been eating it for years, we're like numb to it and wonder why we're sick when we go to the doctors and ask someone else what's wrong with our body, when we should know our body best. You yourself, if this is our temple, you should know your temple best. You shouldn't go outside asking people what's wrong with your temple.
Yeah, that make a lot of sense because, like, since I changed my diet, I know when something wrong with me. You know what I'm saying? Or I know what I if I did ate too many cashews or something. Like, yeah, that's because now I feel bad. So, that's definitely you should know what's wrong with you. But back to what I was gonna say, you did the what was it, 900 days basically of on the fruitarian diet. Now, a
Right.
person who go into something like that, and you was fasting and all of that, what state of mind do you have for yourself? Because that's high level shit. You know what I'm saying? You don't just a person just don't do 900 days straight of fruitarianism.
Right.
So what do you think of yourself when you doing shit like that?
um I the more I continued the fruitarian diet, the more I had faith that this is it. This is because when that mucoid plaque came out, right? And I realized when I picked it up and it was heavy and it was like a rock, that's when I realized, holy shit, this is really, really, really it. And you get emotional, you get super emotional, right? Now I was like, oh shit, now I can't go back to the foods I love. I can't go back to eating, my mom's home cooking. She eats a lot of pork. You know what I mean? But
Right,
I
right.
love it. And I got really emotional. Like, holy shit, no more pizza, no more ice, Then you gotta be ready for that. You gotta be ready. You know how the cliche saying, hey, you want the truth, you can't handle the truth. Because yeah, holy shit, when the truth comes, sometimes it's super overwhelming. And a lot of people I want to say can't handle it right away. Right. But I think we're all on this journey already pre-scripted by the creator, already, perfectly scripted. But our journey, I think, is already perfectly scripted. So everybody has their own path, their own pace. So I'm thinking, okay, you're going to get there eventually. I don't have to tell, if I think this is all destiny, I don't have to tell a vegan or somebody to become vegan. If that person's destiny is to become a vegan, I don't have to do or say anything. That person's going to become a vegan. So what I'm saying is, if anybody wants to do this, yeah, give it a try. Give it a try. If you fail, it's okay. You go back up. Maybe it wasn't your time at that time, but I would say if you are eating a standard junk food diet or a standard modern human diet, I would suggest starting off by getting rid of junk foods and then processed foods. And then there's like
levels.
There's like how do you say, steps, right? But you not saying, hey, you can just go straight to fruitarianism. I'm saying there are steps, the transitional steps that will make it a lot more comfortable and easier if you're not trying to just jump on it right away, and which is like getting rid of processed foods first and then start eating a lot more fresh produce.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I think that's when your mind frame will start to go towards, hey, maybe this is it. And start really thinking about your body as your body starts to fix itself. And I think people will start realizing more through their experience. And so I usually try to tell people, hey, go at your own pace and know your body as you're doing it. And enjoy this journey that if there is a creator, and if it all is already scripted and our destiny is already chosen by us before we were even born, then just enjoy it.
Just enjoy it. That's a fact.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about next month, like I said, opening up my diet. I'm gonna eat some cooked food next month. I just need more diversity, man. I
Right.
love fruit to death. I'm gonna stay 85% fruit. You know what I'm saying? I think that's fruitarianism. You know, cleaning, eating fruits every day, all day. And, you know, that's what I do. So, if you think about this, so do you see how I be moving? Like I say, my message is to people: eat the fruit no matter what. You know, and get the best available
Right.
fruit. La la la.
Right.
So, but do you think that? So, do you think you a high level individual, or like, do you think you eating at the highest level that you can eat at?
Uh, I think I think there is a higher level. I think there is. I mean, do you ever hear like folks, these superfoods folks talking about eating bee pollen? You know, getting spoonfuls of
Mm-hmm.
bee
Mm-hmm.
bee pollen or mixing it in their smoothie. During springtime, I'm pretty sure there's pollen everywhere. You know what I mean? And I think like super high level will get a lot of energy through else elsewhere, through music, through the sun, through the earth, through the through nature, and through breath. Because if there's pollen in the air, there's probably nutrients in the air. And then I think that's high level, like
Yeah, that's
highest
definitely
level
high
is
level
not.
shit. Definitely.
I
But you
think
know,
I
you high level. You eating at a high level.
oh I
An
I
example of
try to
high
yes,
level eating. Yeah.
right. I still eat conventional fruits, and I still eat sea salt. I try to avoid any other salts. Actually, I avoid every other salt besides sea salt. And if history is really telling the truth, then yeah, my ancestors have done eat sea salt, and
Mm.
it's natural. I imagine if you are the only person on Earth, where would you get your food, right? And how much of it? And that's what you should. That's the amount you should eat. So fruits. When we come across a tree with a lot of fruits, we're not just gonna eat one, right? We're gonna eat a whole bunch. So eating a whole bunch of fruits at one time is, or in one sitting, is actually natural, right? We
Mm-hmm.
can't. What's unnatural is, let's say you have, I get winter, I get a winter citrus, and I mix it with a tropical pineapple. Like, where on earth can you get both winter fruit and a tropical fruit at one time and eat it at one time? Maybe in Garden of Eden, but right. So that's, in a way, that's kind of unnatural. So I try
Mm.
to avoid those kind of mixes, right? Like when you're eating apple, our ancestors are, before winter time, they're looking for food. They find an apple tree, and then they pick an apple, and they're like, okay, I'm just gonna eat one apple, and then this apple I'm gonna mix with kale. I don't think they ever did. There's you know, I'm gonna go blend this with. I think also, to a certain degree, if you want to start eat, the more naturally we eat, the more
Mm.
natural we become. If we are what we eat, so I'm thinking even blending and juicing to a degree is, it's coming from a natural source, and I think it does help with the fasting and the detox.
Right.
However, yeah, where can we get, where in nature can we squeeze 30 oranges at one time and drink it in? Something it's chewing is, might be important. I did a citrus only back in 2021, I believe, citrus only, and I was juicing, and I was also eating. But when I eat, I would just juice it in my mouth, and I'll spit out the pulp. However, when I juice it in a machine, I have to juice like 30 of them to feel satisfied, right? But just doing it one by one and into it with your mouth, it just ate 10, and I was good for the day. So
Mm.
I'm
Mm.
thinking the process really helps in your brain hormones and whatnot. The chewing and whatnot will help with the satiety, with the
Yeah.
satisfaction. Yeah,
Yeah. 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 That makes sense though.
satiating. It's more
Satiating.
satiating.
Yeah. Satiating.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. That makes sense. Like, I did the mono eating in January with the citrus and the grapes. And I noticed that I was less, I ate less, but I was more hydrated because I ate more at one time. You know what I'm saying? Like I would eat like 9 or
Right.
10 oranges at once, and I eat the whole orange. You know what I'm saying? Like I was full than a motherfucker every time I ate. So yeah, that make a lot of sense though. You know what made a lot of sense though? when you said like mixing those fruits together, fruit combining, because a lot of people in the community warn you against, hey, you know, you're not supposed to mix those fruits together. And I always was a firm believer, like, if it don't affect me in a bad way, then it's okay. But that's not necessarily always true if you're trying to get the best benefit out the fruit.
Right, right.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
supposedly, yeah, we mix acidic fruits with, let's say, like orange and a banana. Right? Banana grows in the tropics. Orange grow in subtropical to temperate climate. It slows down our digestion, because now it's, like, hey, this this digestive way for bananas, this digestive way for oranges, and it's working it's working together, and supposedly affects the acidity or the pH of your of your of your gut if you mix water with it as well. And I think ultimately that just puts a little bit more work for your body, which means a little less time for detox. So if you want optimum detox, then yeah, monomeal, or water fast or dry fast. But however, if I see people mix fruits and maybe some raw leaves of it, like I'd rather see that than wiener schnitzel, and yeah, I got the 10 hot dogs for $10 deal, or the Arby's 5 for $5.95. It's I think these fast foods are cheap for a reason, and imagine why fruits are kind of pricey.
Yeah, yeah. They don't want
If
you eating the
if
optimal way.
right, if health is your wealth, if health is wealth for you, then I would suggest, yeah, we should invest in our health, but by investing in fruits instead. Be like, oh, this is cheaper, I'm gonna eat ramen noodles, but then later on in the future, the money you save might have to be going through healthcare, going through the healthcare bills. So I think I'd rather just eat fruits than pay for it later. And supposedly, right, or I don't want to say supposedly, Genesis chapter 6, verse 3, God gave us up to 120 years. So yeah, man, let's try to enjoy 120, up to
Why not?
120 years. I Wikipedia, or I Googled, it took me to Wikipedia, but I Googled like modern record of the longest living men, okay? And the top 10, they average like 116, 115. So like, oh shit, it's pretty close to what Genesis is saying, 120 years. But supposedly back then, before we started eating meat, people were living a lot longer. So after Noah's flood, I'm sure there was no fruits around, and fruits take like years before, from seed to fruit. It takes years.
Yeah.
Avocado take 13, supposedly. Can take 13. Coconuts take like 5 years. Papayas are pretty short. Tomatoes are like 6 months. But anyway, so God in Genesis chapter 9, verse 3 is like, okay, you may eat meat. He said you didn't have to. He said you may eat meat. Right? And as people started eating meat, but then God lowered the man was living like, I think Noah was like 900 years old when he died or something like that.
Right.
God lowered down to 120 years. And according to the Jainist culture cosmology, Jainism is more closer to Hinduism. The Jainists are saying the same thing. People of this era are going to live up to 120 years. Maybe we could live a little longer if we figure a lot more things out. But we are given 120 years. And people back then actually were living longer, and they were a lot taller. So if anybody believes in Titan or Giants theory, yeah, maybe people back then were a lot taller, just like the dinosaurs were a lot bigger, or the animals were a lot bigger.
Yeah, I one of those people, like, I know our people, especially like melanated people, so-called black people, our diet is supposed to consist of mostly melons and berries, and you know what I mean? And we're so far away from our diet that I'll really only talk to the people who eating close to the way we eat. You know what I mean? Because people who don't eat the way we eat, they're so far off of the
Right,
wave that we on. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
but
It's
how do most of your people
some yeah, it all depends, man. Some don't get it. Some, it's like, you're talking and they're not on the same frequency, right? So
eat? Yeah.
you can't pick up the same. And people who can pick up what I'm somewhat saying, they're brothers and sisters. At least there's hope. There's
Right,
hope.
right.
But I continue. I post on like Facebook, all these vegan Facebook groups. Although I don't really like the label vegan. It's like a zombie movie where I'm on the radio saying if there's any survivors out there. Hey, anybody out there? Some of them, like they kind of get it. Like
Yeah.
they have potential. Some of them are already like bots, man. They're like, that's crazy. You're gonna die. You're gonna have some kind of deficiency. You look sick.
Yeah.
Look at you, Chuck. You look sick. You look like you just came out of ground zero.
I didn't heard all of it.
but then like, so I post every day on my stories or a lot of times on like my Facebook or my social media, like, okay, look, this is day 100. I'm still doing push-ups like 90 days later, every day. I have yet to fill the vitamin B12 deficiency. And what the hell are you talking about when you're saying proteins? Because like, what are you using your proteins for? Sitting in a chair, in your office work,
watching me do
like,
push-ups.
what's it called? Like, I'm eating fruits, and you're saying I'm not getting protein. You see me doing, and then I notice, from doing the push-ups for like 100 days straight, I noticed, my muscle strength, it can increase. However, muscle mass, you don't really see the increase. And so I'm thinking, okay, maybe if you're like a professional sumo wrestler or a professional football player, like a lineman, a rugby player, pro wrestler,
or you just have that natural physique. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Muscles and shit, not for everybody.
Right. And if it's your job, like a professional bodybuilder, then sure, okay, yeah, doing it for your living, you're trying to feed your kids, okay, I understand. But other than that, I don't think we need that extra body mass. And the more body mass we have, I guess, supposedly our heart works more, which means, less lifespan, right? The more, if our machine, this is a very advanced machine, the more it works, right? The more the lifespan goes on, kind of like a car engine. The more you work it, right, eventually the lifespan will go down. And so, and also thinking, the more heavier we are, the less we are able to ascend. Because if gravity is a theory, and if it's buoyancy and density that keeps us from going up and down, then the lighter we are, not just in weight, but lighter in spirit, maybe.
You can't be. I tell people all the time, you got to be a light being. You gotta eat the light, which is the food, the biophotons and all of that, and then you have to be physically light. You know what I'm saying? You can't be no big heavy ass motherfucker thinking you about to get up out of here.
I think that's why they say when you eat these cooked foods, you ground, because now you could speak to the people. Okay, so I noticed when I was eating cooked foods, I was getting along with the people who are eating, the standard. So I think we get into that frequency. So you up here too much, you're eating fruits too much. People can't pick up what you're saying. Maybe we have to eat. Okay, maybe I'll eat a broccoli. Maybe I'll eat some bread. Now you're in that frequency where you can. Hey, guess what? I just saw this world where people were just eating fruits and they're doing fine. And they're like, no way. Then you try to pick them up into that frequency, show them. Or we can't red pill everybody. Right? Some people, they get red pill, they just get scared. Now they can't leave their home. However, I think we just plant the seeds. Once we plant the seeds, our job is pretty much done. Same with fruits. We eat the fruits. Thank you very much. We plant the seeds. Okay, I did my work. We plant these seeds into people. Whether they grow into a nice tree with fruits, we don't know, but we did it. We gave effort. And I think going back to God and his mercy beating our sins, at least we gave effort, and God sees that, or the creator sees that, and it's like, hey man, at least you gave effort in the world full of sins. If the world right now is being run by Satan or a devil, according to Ephesians chapter 6, verse 9, I think. Yeah, we're not struggling against flesh and blood or our brothers and sisters. We're going to wrestle against authority and the evil forces that rule over us. And, man, I think big industry is probably something something, if Satan exists, something he created. Even this modern society system, I think, if this Satan or the devil or the fallen, Lucifer and the fallen existed, this is something he created, and it's watching.
It's something want our energy, man. Something
Yeah.
something want your energy not on what you supposed to be putting it towards. And I tell people all the time, if you focus on what you're supposed to do and put the right things in your body and get up every day to do the best for yourself, then that can't be unnoticed. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna be the judge of yourself. So you get up and judge yourself every day and just be the best you can. And if your intention is what this life is all about, what do you get up and intend to make life about? You know what I'm saying? So that's what the fruits have told me. That's why I don't harp on seedless, seeded, pesticides, all this shit, because my intention is to do the best I can for myself, and I'm just learning and growing through the process.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
You mentioned cooked foods earlier, right? You're gonna go back to cooked foods, and there's this. I think it was a biologist or a scientist named Emoto, a Japanese. He did this test on water where he'll say hella bad words into this cup of water and say hella bad good words to this cup of water, like love you and whatnot.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And the water that got shitty words didn't do really well. When he put like rice, it kind of rotted, and then the good water fermented and became good wine. But supposedly the water structure changes with frequency and vibration, right? Or our words. And imagine like fruits are like 90% water. You tank it. I always tank it in usually always tank it in Japanese or English. And then I take it and imagine people's body. If our bodies are 70% water or above, then we gotta watch what we say to people, because even though they're like, hey, oh, sticks and stones can't whatever my bones, words will never. No, it might have effect in the structure of the waters in our body, and it might hit us later on down the line. So I imagine words are like spells, and that's why we learn how to spell it, right? But anyway, going back to cooked foods, yes, we enjoy whatever realm we are on. Yeah, let's enjoy. I'm thinking cooked foods are like art, right? Flavors like art. So enjoy the art, but I want to say, thank you for the sacrifice, to the plants. If you're eating plant-based, even the plants have life, right? So thank you for the sacrifice. The water in the plants and the water in the food, the structure might change if we do prayers before we eating our foods. And I think that's a big thing. Intention is a big thing when you're eating cooked foods.
Big. And that's my message now. For people to change their intention. Even when you start going into this lifestyle, a lot of people want to go into it to lose weight, and they focus on that. And then they become obsessed with the weight loss, and I got to stay with this number, and all that. And I learned, I was like that at one point, when I first started. And I learned now I just want to feel better, to feel the best. And you know what? It's crazy because people say I look sick, I'm too skinny and all this sometimes, right? But I felt my best when I was at the lowest weight ever of 121. You know what I'm saying? I felt phenomenal. Now I'm 129. And I want to get back to 121. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt so good.
I think being overweight is now normalized to our eyes in this modern society, that when they see us at our lowest weight, they're like, hey, you gotta eat a hot dog. You know what I mean? But they don't know how we feel. And so I have to forgive them because they don't experience what I'm experiencing. And the fruitarian diet is like unheard of in modern society. You Google, right, the fruitarian diet, and the first couple articles are talking like not recommending the fruitarian.
Oh yeah, how bad it is. Yeah.
Right. And that's where I start. That's a big, it was like a big door for me to question authority and mainstream science, because, hey, why is the Bible saying, hey, fruitarian diet? And why is mainstream society saying no fruitarian diet? But when I tried the fruitarian diet, I had doubts at first. When I first heard of the fruitarian diet, I had doubts. I was on the keto diet. I was like, that's stupid. right? But now that I experience it, I understand, like, holy shit, okay, maybe something's up with modern industry, and maybe Bible is onto something. And it's not just the Bible. You get the Bhagavad Gita, all these other scriptures talking more of a raw, more natural diet. And Book of Daniel is a good example of a simple, raw, plant-based diet. Daniel was in the palace, and the palace folks was trying to feed him palace food. And Daniel was like, no, just give me some raw vegetables and some water. And everybody's like, oh, you're gonna fucking die, man. What are you doing? But then he's like, okay, no, test it out. Me and my buddies were here. We're gonna eat this raw diet, and in 10 days we'll see what's up. So in 10 days, they saw that Daniel and his friends, they're in tip-top shape, and everybody else drinking the wine and eating the pork or whatever palace food there were not as in tip-top shape as Daniel. I believe, yeah, that's a Book of Daniel, chapter 1. So that Book of Daniel talks about the vegan diet right off the bat.
Yeah, man. I've come to learn that no matter what, this is the best way to live. And if you can get the discipline level to indulge in this lifestyle, then you'll be able to go back into the other lifestyle and go back and forth.
Right.
Because you know what you're doing. You know, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you're doing it responsibly and you got the discipline level to go back and forth.
Right.
But so right now you're on like 100 days of straight fruits or something, ain't you? 100 straight days or something?
105 or 106. Yes, only fruits. However, I sometimes water fast. I drink water. And like I said, when I eat avocados and tomatoes, I add sea salt, sun-dried sea salt as much as possible. So the more natural, I believe, the better, right?
So
people put like table salt. What's that?
What do you eat like in a regular, like what you been eating, like a regular day of eating?
All right, so every day I try to fast for 16 hours. I sometimes less, sometimes more, but I try to aim for 16. And my breakfast, I break my fast usually with the juicy, seasonal local fruits. Right now it is citrus. But like for like the past couple months, it was apples. I was just eating apples, a lot of it for breakfast. And then at night or for dinner, I have the avocados and tomato.
Man, those apples are something else. I didn't realize, because I hadn't been eating apples my whole entire time being a fruitarian. And I was drinking the juice. But just now, you know who Orville Douglas is, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm in his challenge. And that's why I'm drinking the distilled water right now. That's all you can drink is distilled water. And you can only eat fruit. You can't drink nothing, or you got one smoothie a day, 2 bananas, and the rest got to be high water. So I would start eating apples, man. You ever had those Cosmic Crisp apples?
I'm not sure. Is it those yellow ones, really crunchy?
No, they're not yellow, but they like a Honey Crisp almost. But
okay,
they are fantastic. And I like I didn't realize how watery apples are.
Like you gulp, right? You feel like you're gulping.
Yeah, they super
eating
watery.
Apples.
And they sugary, man. I love apples now. So yeah, man, 100 days. That's crazy.
And what's good about apples is that you could easily save the apple seeds and plant them.
So where do you be planting your? So you guys, you plant your own food? You grow your own food?
I try to plant everywhere I can. Right now, I have plants on like my balcony. I have plants in my workplace, and when I travel around different cities, I'm eating fruits. I save the seeds and I throw them on top of dirt, random dirt. So I did my job. All right, thank you for the fruit.
So that'll work. So right now, if I was just go take a handful of apple seeds and throw them in the back somewhere.
Oh yeah.
That's good enough.
Yeah. Put it over there. Even avocados. I don't even have to bury it. I don't even have to cut it. I don't have to dip it in water. I just put it on the dirt. It's natural. Yeah, it falls. The plant falls in the dirt, right? And then it eventually, after a couple rains and whatnot, it starts to start to open up and grow. And
Well,
depending on what, yeah.
I'm gonna start saving my seeds, man.
Oh
I'm gonna
yeah,
start saving.
yeah. Not only fruit seeds, but also men should save their seed as well.
Oh yeah, oh
Save it.
yeah.
Don't blast it into a condom. You know, don't, you know what I
talk,
mean?
hold on. Talk about that a little bit. Talk about how important it is to save or
Yeah.
for semen retention.
Semen retention, yeah, I think it's really important. It's life energy that we're blasting out, and supposedly, according to science, we use a lot of blood to recreate semen, and so that's why we get tired after busting a nut 2 or 3 times a day, and we start gaining weight and start, our testosterone levels start going down because we're already blasting. Our testosterone goes up when we're looking for that mate, right? And that's why you see the animals with the testosterone so blasted, so high up, they're battling for their female. However, I'll go back to that later. It is life energy that we're blasting out. And then Genesis chapter 2, verse 22, when God was making Eve for Adam, he took Adam's rib and created Eve. So it took a part of man to create another life. It's not just women who are sacrificing, quote, I don't think they're really sacrificing their body, but it takes a part of man as well to create life. And so we save that part to create life. Don't save it. Don't blast it off in your computer screen. You know what I
mean? Now, let me ask you this. Do you believe in that what you just said in a literal sense, as in God took the rib and
I don't know. I don't know if it really was, because like if we have x-rays, supposedly we still have ribs, but I don't know if it was like a literal sense. I'm thinking, but it took a part of, I don't know what part.
I mean, that makes, well, of course it take a part of a man, but I'm thinking like, because if you think about it, every man on the earth come from a woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's, you know what I'm saying? So it's like just to get on that part, because I always have a discussion about that. The woman coming from the man's rib, always made me think like maybe they didn't mean that in a literal sense, and I don't know what the hell really going on.
Right. I don't know if it's a literal rib, but from reading that part, so yeah, he because when God, Genesis chapter 2, verse 2, when he created Adam, he just got, the earth, he got the dirt, and then he shaped him up and breathed in his nose. So the first thing that gives us life was breath. What's keeping us alive is breath, right? Not food. And then also Matthew chapter 4, Jesus says the same thing to the tempter. When he was fasting for 40 days, the tempter came and he's like, yo, man, you're the son of God. You could turn that stone or the rock into bread and eat it, man. What's up? And Jesus is like, yo, it is written. It's not only bread that sustains man, but it's the breath of God, or the spirit of God, or the word of God that keeps us alive. But yeah, I don't know if it's really a literal rib, but from reading that, I was like, hey man, yeah, it does take a part of us. That's why we're super tired after banging like 3 or 4 times a night.
Facts.
I mean, some dudes get tired after banging once or twice, right?
I made a video and I said, every time you bust a nut, you losing brain fluid.
Right.
You know what I mean? You like cerebral spinal fluid. So
yeah,
like you
supposedly
literally
it recycles the semen that we don't use. It goes up, recycles, and I'm thinking like the cells it's like through like autophagy. It takes cells that we don't use and fixes other cells and whatnot, and then recreates. So it's like it's constant keeping it clean, keeping the semen clean, or creating new clean semen and then recycling it and creating. I think it's that constant cycle, and it goes up to the brain supposedly, right, to like our pineal gland or something like that, and that's supposedly very important. Yeah, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it, and I don't think it's. I rather save it.
You have more energy.
After the the apocalypse of Revelation and to repopulate the earth, yeah, that's when I'll probably
Right.
blast it out. But in boxing, I remember my boxing coaches, supposedly even the basketball coaches, they say, "Hey, man, before the fight or the game, try not to jerk off or bust a
Mm-hmm.
nut,
Yeah.
so you have that
Yeah.
energy."
Yeah.
And
That's
yeah,
that
I
right
think
there should let you know something.
yeah, that I
Yeah.
think they say that for a reason, and they've been doing that for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely, yeah, after busting a nut and I go sparring in the boxing gym, I don't feel as good as not busting a nut.
Right. Facts. Facts. So yeah, man. So right now, what would you tell? Do you give people advice? Do you like help people, consultate people? Do you do anything like that? And like
Yes,
transitioning?
I'm always open for people to contact me asking for question or comments or anything like that. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and that's usually where people can find me.
Mm, mm,
And yeah, I do video calls like this. I try to. I don't really charge anything. I check for okay. So anything that that I believe serves mankind, I try not to charge for. I think Matthew, the Book of Matthew, the Book of Mark says something of that kind. So don't if it's gonna help save mankind or help mankind, then I should give the information for free. Um,
mm.
and so yeah, I'm always open for anybody to come hit me up. Yeah, please feel free to.
That's beautiful, man. So before we get out of here, and I'll let you go, start your day, because I know y'all starting the day over there in Japan. We ain't even made it to that day yet. I just want to know, what right now advice would you give to anybody uh, who not eating enough fruits and who don't know about the benefits of eating enough fruits? What would you tell them to get them to feel better or get an understanding of how they could feel if they were to?
Uh, and it's this might be
Yeah.
I gotta think about this one, but I would say yeah, life is experiment, right? Life is an experiment. Yeah, experiment all kinds of things. Don't just if you think that diet is good, okay, but experiment other things, and maybe you might change your mind. Maybe that experience might change your mind. And if you look like folks like Aline, folks like Bobby, folks like Jenny, right?
Uh,
Yeah, their life changed, and I'm glad there's more of us coming out and we're able to connect with a lot of other people. We're giving these testimonies for a reason, and I'm thinking a lot of it, yeah, is destiny. Whether you come across the information of fruitarianism or this raw diet or not, but I say, yeah, give it a. What do you got to lose? If it doesn't
right.
work for you, go back to eating what you were go back to eating what you were eating, and
Facts.
I believe everybody's on their journey. So enjoy it, even if you're eating chicken nuggets and jalapeno poppers.
Yeah.
Understand, but uh,
Know what you're doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and if you don't know, I understand fear limits a lot of us, and modern science kind of give us that fear of just eating fruits and vegetables. Like, oh, is that even? But yeah, talk to the people that experience the raw diet or the fruitarian diet, and hear what they have to say, and compare with many other people's testimonies. And there's not a lot of negative testimonies when people go fruitarian. Like once you go fruit, you never go back. That is in mine, but it's usually like that.
Facts. Facts.
And a lot of times you see folks who are on the raw diet and started eating cooked foods again. You talk to them, they'll say, "Yeah, I want to go back to being raw again, but this
Mm-hmm.
and that and this and that." And I understand, man. When I started eating cooked foods, even though I felt the negative effects, it got me. It got a foothold, like in Ephesians, talking about, hey, don't let the devil get a foothold, because it's gonna be hard to shake off. The more you give into temptation and eat these comfort foods, the more you open windows for you to give into
Mm.
these comfort foods. And so be careful. Not saying that it's gonna get you and you won't be able to shake them off.
Yeah,
But
I take that advice, and a lot of people give me that advice. So, it's
but
a
it's
it's a
not impossible. Yeah.
it's a journey, man. It's a journey.
Yep.
I look forward to the experiences always. This started off for me as a spiritual journey, and it's going to stay that way. I never lose focus of that. And you're going to have pitfalls, you're going to have high rises, you know what I'm saying? So it's just all a part of the process.
Yes, the pitfalls is part of. I am glad that I started eating these cooked foods because I know for sure now that hey, this is not
Right,
natural
right.
food. So these bad events that happened in my past life, I wouldn't get a time machine and change it because it's what made us
Yeah,
now. So I'm
yeah.
super grateful for the bad experiences and the good experiences and the many blessings that the creator or the universe presented us with. And I'm just enjoying the show, even though sometimes, I'm human. I'm human. When bad things happen, sometimes I react like, oh shit, but we're human and we're born into sin, and from there trying to advance. The effort of trying to advance every time, we're trying to evolve every time is very important.
Facts. Yeah, man. Well, I'm gonna let you get out of here, man. It's been a
All right.
beautiful talk with you, man. I'm glad
Thanks.
I reached out to you, man. From here on out though, we gonna build, we can do some things together, get the community
Right.
together. Are you inside the Fruit Up with Bobby Smith group?
I may be in
You
the
go,
in the Facebook group, right?
yeah.
I think so.
If
I think so.
yeah,
I
if
think I
not,
posted a couple times.
okay, yeah. If not, because I don't know if I see you in there. If not, I'm gonna have to, send you an invite. Because
Okay.
it's going down. So yeah, man, I'm glad we connected. You got a very good perspective. We'll chop it up again, bring you back, and we
Yeah.
go get into some other things, some deeper things. So, some spiritual talk, some conspiracy talk, and
Yes.
get into all those good things. So I appreciate you, brother, man. It was nice, man, and much
Thank you so
success
much.
to you, man.
Yes. Have a great night.
You
Thank you
too,
so much
bro.
for having me.
Thank you. I appreciate you.